Hello, everyone. My name is Miss Caitlyn, and I am here to talk to you about something really big, something really exciting, something really important. Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020 is Election Day. Election Day happens every 2 years, but this year is a special year because every 4 years, Election Day is when Americans can vote to choose the next president of the United States. Voting is a big deal. It's part of an American citizen's civic duty. Do you remember what civic duty is? That's right. Civic duty means that citizens have a responsibility to make choices that help their communities and the people who live in them. Voting is one of those really important choices. In America, there are rules about who is and who isn't allowed to vote, and these rules have changed throughout America's history. At first, only rich white men could vote. Then, over 100 years later in 1920, white women fought for and won their right to vote. People of color, specifically Black and Native American folks, had to fight even harder for their right to vote and finally won in 1965. That was only 55 years ago. Today in 2020, there are still some people who can't vote. Anyone under the age of 18, children, and some incarcerated individuals, people who are or have been in jail, cannot vote, even if they're an American citizen. And sometimes people even try to stop others from voting by making it really hard to do. This is called voter suppression, and it's illegal. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about not everyone being able to vote? Show me in your body. Choose a sound and a move that represents how you feel about not everyone having the right to vote. When I think about not everyone having the right to vote, it makes me feel, I'd like for you to share with me your sound and your move. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then say show me. When I say show me your sound and your move. Ready? 1, 2, 3, show me. Thank you. Let's shake that off. Whew. It isn't fair that not everyone can vote. How can you make change if you can't vote? Well, I found a book called A Vote for Our Future, and this book is about a group of young people who figure out how to practice their civic duty and make change even without voting. Let's read. Vote for Our Future by Margaret Mcnamara and Micah Player. On the cover, there's a group of lots of young people. They look like maybe students, and they're holding a big sign that says, "Vote for Our Future." Every 2 years, on the Tuesday after the first Monday of November, Stanton Elementary School closes for the day. So there's a picture of an elementary school. It says Stanton Elementary School. And there's students out front going into class. Does the school close for repairs? Nope. For a holiday? Nuh-uh. For vacation? No way. So there's a group of students following their teacher in a line. It looks like they're going somewhere. Stanton Elementary School closes for Election Day and changes from a school to a polling station. What's a polling station? A polling station is where people vote. And there's the group of students that were following their teacher, and now they're standing inside of a big auditorium, and it's decorated in red, white, and blue. This is where the polling station will be. The reason people vote is to choose who makes the laws of the country. We should all vote, said Latoya. We should all vote to make the future better. And there's a student, and her mouth is open wide like she's speaking, and she has her hand up like she's raising her hand to speak. We can't vote until we turn 18, said Lizzie. So what can we do? The kids of Stanton Elementary School did their research.
They looked in books and made notes. They went online and found all kinds of information. So there's LaToya again, and two other students. They're reading and researching using the computer and books. They even took a trip to their local election office and picked up forms. I can't wait till I can vote for real, said Amal. Me either, said everybody else. Kids have to live with adult choices. The kids of Stanton Elementary School were ready to spread the word. And there's Amal walking away with voter guides to help spread the word. Caddy and her mom made flyers and handed them out. Don't forget to vote, Caddy told one busy dad. I didn't even know there was an election, he said. Now you do, said Caddy. And there's Caddy and her mom, and Caddy is handing the busy dad a flyer that says, Vote for our future. Can I go with you when you vote? Jasmine asked her big sister. It's a pain to vote, her sister said. I'm not even registered, added her friend. Well, it's not hard to register, said Jasmine. You can do it together, and I can show you how. So there's Jasmine helping her sister and her sister's friend register online to vote. Nadia and her auntie went door to door. Voting is a right, Nadia said, a right that women didn't have 100 years ago. Remember, we talked about that before we read our book, that who gets to vote has changed throughout history. And 100 years ago, women didn't have the right to vote. One lady told them, I don't like standing in lines. I don't like lines either, answered Nadia's auntie. But if we stand in line for coffee or for a movie or at the bank, I bet we can stand in line to vote too. Said the lady. Maybe we can. And there's Nadia handing the lady at the door a voter guide. At Jaden's house, the whole family was making their voting plans. Jaden's dad was voting before work. Jaden's mom was voting after work. And there's Jaden's dad sitting in a chair, reading his voter guide, preparing to vote. Does your family have a voting plan? Talk to your grown-ups about what their voting plan is. I've walked to that polling station every election since I could vote, Jaden's great-grand told him. But I can't walk so far anymore. A volunteer can drive you, said Jaden. Let's get you set up, said Jaden's mom. And there's Jaden and his gran, and his mom is on her phone, and she's organizing for a volunteer to drive her great-gran. Maybe you have someone in your community who might need help getting to the polling station. How could you help them get to the polling station? Those are great ideas. Maybe you can ask your grown-up to help organize a volunteer to drive them there. Mia and Noah and Jamal had a bake sale. Don't forget to vote, Mia said as she handed out change. I'll be away on election day, said one woman. Oh, in our state, you can vote early, said Mia. Or you can vote by mail, said Jamal. The voter guide tells you how. And there's Mia handing out change. And there's signs all around that say, be sweet and vote. Voting is a piece of cake. And they're selling cupcakes and cookies at this voter bake sale. Voting? What's the big deal? Asked a teenager. People fought wars so we can vote, said Mia. That's a big deal. Remember when we talked about civic duty and how that's really important? Voting is part of that civic duty. Mia understands that. Can you show me in your body how Mia looks? Ready, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she looks frustrated, maybe even a little angry. Why should I vote? Said a sad lady. Nothing ever changes. Besides, one vote won't make a difference. Are you kidding? Said Jamal. Changes are made every day because people voted. And there's Jamal and Mia and another friend, and they're holding a big sign that says, "Every vote counts." And it's true. Every vote does count. That's why everyone who can needs to get out and vote on Election Day. By the time it was the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November, every kid at Stanton Elementary School had spread the word to their families, to their neighbors, to their friends, to strangers, to friends of strangers. The whole town had a voting plan. And there is a lot of the kids that we've met so far and grown-ups, and they're all holding voter guides and handing out voter guides and talking about voting, making a voting plan. And on Election Day, voters came early in the morning, before the sun was up. They waited in line with coffee. They rolled in on wheelchairs. They voted for the first time and for the 50th time. They ran in at the last minute. They came with their sons and daughters, their nieces and nephews, their brothers and sisters, their cousins and friends. Look at this long line of people waiting to go into the elementary school to vote. This is happening in our country right now. People all over the United States are voting early, and they're waiting in long lines to vote for the next president of the United States. And on November 3rd, even more people will stand in long lines and wait to vote, because it's important. On the first Wednesday after the first Monday of November, all the votes had been counted. The results were so close, the votes had to be counted again. And there is a family sitting on a couch watching the TV, waiting to find out who won. And underneath that, there's a picture of adults sitting at a table recounting the votes. Some people won, and some people lost. The laws of the country began to change. Stanton Elementary School went back to being a school, and there are the students inside a classroom sitting at their desks with their teacher. And there's LaToya from the beginning of our story. And in her notebook, she's written, "For a new tomorrow, LaToya for Senate." It looks like LaToya wants to run for Senate, which is a government position that helps make laws when she grows up. And the future began to change. And there are the students going to school, and they look excited and empowered and hopeful and like they're ready to make change. The end.
How do you feel now about voting after reading our story? Show me in your body. Choose another sound and another move that represents how you feel about voting after reading the book. After reading our book, I feel, yes! I feel empowered and motivated to make change after reading our story, because there are a lot of things that young people can do even without voting. If you could vote, what things would you vote for? What choices are important to you? Even though you can't vote this year, your grown-ups can. Talk to the grown-ups in your life about the choices you would make if you were allowed to vote, and ask them about the choices they're making. Because remember, kids have to live with adult choices, and adults need to hear from young people like you, so that when we make decisions, they are decisions that help everyone, no matter how young or old. Thank you for reading, learning, and playing with me today, and for sharing your thoughts and feelings about voting. When I vote on November 3rd, I'll be thinking about young people like you, and I'll work hard to make choices that make America a place that supports you. Thank you so much, and happy Election Day.